Okay friends, it's time to get started on our fuel injector wiring harness. Something that I want to mention is we will be cutting wires, and if you're not great at soldering, it's a good idea to have some solderless connectors. Alright, now this is a 6-cylinder engine, which means it's going to have 6 of these. You have to figure out which one you're going to replace. This one right here is going to be the easiest for us to see and easiest for us to show you, so it's what I'm going to do. I'll use a pick. I'm going to come right down to the wiring harness and carefully disconnect it from the fuel injector. I'm using the pick to squeeze on the tab. I'll show you it once I get it out. So I just came down, I pressed right on this little square right here. After that, I could pull it right off. The next thing I like to do is trim back some of the wiring sheathing here. Now I can go ahead and pull out some of the wiring. We'll go ahead and untape it. Now that I have that off of there, the next thing you want to do is find the area that has the issue. If it's torn or worn or damaged, obviously you want to make sure that's going to be the area that gets cut off. Now when I cut the wiring, I always like to leave a little bit of it still on the harness, either way. Let's go ahead and cut this one right here. And now I'm going to cut the other one a little further down, essentially staggering them. Now let's have a look at the new wiring harness compared to the old one. We want to have them in the same positioning. Then we're going to start paying attention to the wiring themselves. We want to make sure that we have each wire leading to the proper place. So this black one right here would go to the same area that this one went to. Just keep that in mind. Now that we've noted that, let's continue on by stripping off the outer sheathing on each of our wires. Once you have it off of there, just go ahead and grab onto that wire, give it a close inspection, and twist it a little bit. We want to essentially keep all the little wires together. We'll set that one aside, do the same to the other. Now for the new wiring harness, you're going to find that it came with a whole bunch of extra wire. You don't have to use all that, but you also don't want to cut it very short. It's better to have a little extra. I'll just make my way down here. Go ahead and trim off the excess there. Now obviously on this one, my black wire is cut a little bit longer. So I'm going to make sure I cut the red a little bit shorter. Just go ahead and try to match up those wires. That looks about right. We'll go ahead and take off the outer sheathing on those as well. At this point, we're ready to start putting our wires together. Now, like I said, I'm going to continue using a solderless wire connector. It's also a good idea to make sure you have one that has the shrink wrap on the sides as well. It's going to help keep moisture out of the area. It only makes sense. Let's go ahead and slide it right on there. I'm going to twist as I press it down to make sure the wires are going in properly. Now I'm going to make sure I crimp it down. It's important to make sure you use a wire crimper for this and not pliers. It won't squeeze it right. Go ahead and grip it on there. Squeeze as hard as you can. Now once I have it on there, I always like to give it a little tug just to make sure it's crimped properly. If it slides around or wants to fall off, it's not right. I'm going to go ahead and do the same to the other wire here. Crimp it down. Give it a tug. Now we can grab our new wiring harness. Now for the wiring harness, you want to make sure you have it in the proper orientation. Obviously, if I put it this way, it's definitely not going to line up. Press this down in there. Crimp that down. Do the same to the other. Go ahead and give that a nice tug. Once you feel like you have it fully secured, continue on by heating the heat shrink. When you do this, it's important to make sure you don't melt your wiring. And squeeze it on there, make sure the glue sets in right. Do the same for all 4 areas. The next thing I like to do is use some electrical tape. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so I'm sure it's secure and I don't have to worry about it getting damaged. Now we can put on our wire loom. Just try to slide that over this. I'll tape that as well. All right, that looks decent. Now let's reconnect this to our fuel injector. All right, I got it lined up. I'll go ahead and press it in, listen for a click. There it is. Give it a nice tug to make sure it's secure. Of course, any wiring that's left over, just make sure you tuck it in so it's as safe as possible. Okay friends, we got our fuel injector harness installed in the vehicle. As you can see, it was very easy overall. The last thing you want to do is go ahead and start up the vehicle. Let it run for a little bit and make sure you don't have a check engine light. After that, take it for a road test. Thanks for watching.